Posted by you/tired and pathetic. I, 32M, caught my wife, 26F, hiding flirty messages from an ex-coworker. As the title says, I caught my wife of 6 years hiding messages from a guy she used to work with, where they're sending heart and blushing emojis to each other, talking about how attractive they find each other. My wife also had shared a video of her singing happy birthday to him in her native language, which was deleted so I couldn't see it, and promised she'd send him one on his upcoming birthday. She had his name in her contacts changed to a female friend's name in case I saw a notification pop up from him. I know this might not sound world-shattering, but to me it feels like it. For some background, we used to be in the military until recently, and she's confessed to me that in 2018 that she went on a date with another man who I'll call Alex, not the current guy I caught her texting. This occurred while I was working a night shift. She told me the guy showed up to our house, she went in the car with him, and they just grabbed some food and sat in the car for about an hour and talked. Afterwards he took her back to our home, dropped her off and they kissed. She swears up and down that all she did was kiss him, then decided it was too much and went no further and ended it with him right there. When she confessed this to me it was brutal. I couldn't believe the love of my life, my wife of 2 years, could betray me like this. I was blindsided and she gave me no time to even process what had happened, and swore she would never do anything like that ever again and couldn't live without me etc. 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 Long story short, I let it go, because I felt like I had to. I could never really question her about it because she would get extremely upset and would guilt me by saying I already forgave her and ask if I really wanted to throw everything away. So, I just did my best to let it go, but it always was in the back of my mind, wondering what else happened on that date. Did she touch him? Did he touch her? How long did they kiss? Did she like it, and did it really stop there? I had to bury it deep because I couldn't keep thinking about those burning questions, and I could never ask her. Fast forward to 2 days ago, I grabbed my wife's iPad to play something for our toddler while I prepare a bottle for our 5-month-old. Yeah, we have 2 babies now, 2F and 1M. I see a message from a few weeks ago saying you still have the capability of making me blush sent from a female name. When I open the message to see the chain of texts it becomes obvious that it's a guy, and she saved his contact info with a girl's name so I wouldn't get suspicious if I saw a notification from him where he's complaining about his birthday coming up and getting older, to which she replies how attractive he is, and how she'll send him another video of her singing happy birthday for him in her native language, Arabic, to which he is thrilled and says how she still has the capability of making him blush. When I saw this exchange, my heart sank into my stomach like a burning pit. I waited for her to get back as she had been out shopping, and when the kids were in bed, I told her I have something to confess. A girl has been sending me TikTok-style videos of her singing, and has been using quite a few flirty emojis and even mentioned how attractive she finds me, and I asked her, do you think this girl is really flirting with me? If a girl sent messages like this, she'd obviously only do it for a guy she finds attractive, and wants attention from, right? To which she agreed is obviously what's going on, and demanded to see the messages right away, and me hiding them would be cheating. So, I sent her the screenshots, and the change of expression on her face was almost comical, if only it didn't involve my life blowing up. So, I began questioning her and she denied as much as she could at first, but luckily, I had the screenshots from the iPad, because her phone was wiped clean of evidence, it just didn't sync with her iPad for some reason. She eventually admitted that they first began flirting/talking romantically later in 2018, months after she had confessed to going on the date with Alex. This new guy, Nick 40s, confessed that he was attracted to her from the moment he met her, and they spent an hour on the phone flirting back and forth, before she told him she had to stop because she's married, and it can't go any further. This all happened while I was working nights, again. When I asked her why you are clearly still in touch and very much flirting with him, and going through the effort of hiding your tracks, she said that they remained friends after we left the military and moved states, and he keeps in touch with her and occasionally calls her and texts her. She says she's only had contact with him once or twice a year directly through texts or calls since 2018, with the exception of social media photo likes and such. Again, I was being pressured to forget everything because it happened so long ago. Even though the initial flirting began in 2018, she maintained contact with him for 4 years since then. All the while saying she loves me, can't live without me and everything else. Again, she claimed nothing else happened other than the texts I saw, otherwise every call or text since 2018 was innocent. I couldn't just accept it without questioning the guy and finding out if he has a matching story to hers, so I called him up and he was obviously not expecting it, but even worse, he thought we were divorced, and was surprised she's still with me. He even said he didn't know we were back together. When I confronted her with this new information, she admitted that last year she told him we were divorcing, because me and her had a fight and he just so happened to call the day that we had a fight, and he told her to let him know when the divorce is finalized. She says she never calls him, he always initiates, and she hasn't done anything beyond telling him how attractive he is in that one text that wasn't deleted that I saw, and everything I haven't seen never got sexual or flirty, and they're just friends. I told her that I consider all of it cheating, and by her own admission she considered it cheating as well if the roles were reversed and I had a girl sending me such messages and I hid them. She also says that she wasn't even going to send him the video for his birthday, because that in particular was making me sick. The thought of my wife putting on makeup and dolling herself up for another man, and sending him something intimate just for him, singing for him and smiling, it made my stomach turn. In the end, after just 24 hours, I decided to forgive her, and couldn't stand seeing her sad, and felt guilty for not being able to get over it and forgive her. After all, I've considered her my actual soulmate for the last 6 years, and don't want to picture my life without her. This is where I really need advice and input. I tried to bury it and stop questioning everything, because it feels like I'm torturing her, and myself. So, 2 days later, I go back to our bed after having spent the entire day together and acting like we're already past it. I lay in bed and can't sleep. Everything is rattling around in my head, a million questions. Why this guy over me? How many times has she really talked to him or other men behind my back, then got in bed and told me she loved me? Did she kiss me that night I came back home after kissing Alex? Was she really not planning on following through with sending Nick a birthday video singing for him? That last question was what got me out of bed at 1 a.m. this morning. She swore that she had no intention of following that up with a video and said she just didn't think about what she was doing when she flirted back with him, and it was a mistake. It was eating me alive. Me pacing around the room woke her up, and I asked for her phone. When she handed it to me, I opened her calendar to the date he mentioned as his birthday, and sure enough, she had a reminder set for send birthday video and my heart sank again, and I knew I couldn't trust anything she says. I asked her why she had that reminder set if she didn't plan on following through, and she said she just set the reminder without thinking and wasn't actually going to follow through. I apologize for how long this is, and I realize this seems small, and maybe I'm out of my mind, and it is small. I mean, who ends a marriage over a promise of a happy birthday song? I just can't get over this, and I can't look her in the face without all those burning questions bouncing around in my head. How do I begin to get over this and learn to trust her again? I don't want to divorce her, I love her to death, but I feel like I've been cheated on for 4 years straight and can't figure out how to get over this. TLDR, I caught my wife cheating twice that I know of, most recently by sending flirty messages back and forth with an ex-coworker, where she promises him a video of her singing to him on his birthday, after he had confessed to her that he is attracted to her 4 years ago, all the while she maintained contact with him, and hid the evidence by deleting his messages, and changing his name in her contacts to a female name. I need advice on how to cope and get over this. I can't even look at her without thinking about her entertaining other men's advances and betraying me. I can't sleep and I'm unable to function at work. I feel broken. Now on to some comments. Posted by Exodus_Euphoria. It's over. She doesn't respect you. Clearly, she's been talking to this man for a while. Her telling him that you're getting a divorce should spell everything out for you. You can love a person but also need to let them go. Trying to stay together for the kids will make it worse for them as they get older. Trust me, I know. Do not let another person walk all over you because of how much you love them. You will never be able to trust her. It's always going to be eating at you. This is the second instance of her being interested in another man while married to you. OP responded with, "What's worse about the respect thing? Just that day before this all kicked off, she blew up and took her ring off and threatened divorce over a trivial, petty argument without discussion. Then took off and went shopping for 4 hours while I stayed home with the kids, as she continued to insult me over text messages intermittently. She's done this to me throughout our 6-year relationship, always ready to throw me away at the drop of a hat, like I'm worthless, over the pettiest arguments." Your Ticklay responded with, "Sounds like an excuse to go see another man, to be honest. But only that, but it doesn't seem like an empty threat if she has been telling men she is divorced. Chances are she has been considering divorcing you for a long time but simply hasn't taken that final step because she is looking for an upgrade. Your marriage is done. Don't let this woman waste your time." OP responded with, "I can confidently say she didn't see any men when she was going shopping after that fight. She had an appointment with a hair salon and was using my credit card and making purchases showing she was indeed shopping." The painful thing in reading your comment is I feel you're spot on about the rest. I think she has been looking for an upgrade. I don't know how I have zero spine when it comes to this. I've always seen it happen to others and would think to myself, what a spineless idiot. I would have left ages ago and look at me now. Posted by CDEC002. You should have divorced her 4 years ago. She is obviously not in love with you nor respects you. I get you have kids, but that's not worth you being in a loveless marriage. I can tell you the kids will be more negatively impacted by you staying in a broken marriage than if you were to separate. Sorry to come across as harsh, but you need a wake-up call. OP responded with, fucking hell, this is hard to read. I know your intentions are good, and I appreciate you. I'm just fucking miserable. I don't want my life to be over. Everything was good with the exception of the random world-ending fights she'd start where she'd threaten divorce over nothing, which we keep attributing to postpartum depression, but I can't keep ignoring it and chalking it up to that anymore. I felt I wasn't respected or valued when she'd be so eager to throw me away over the pettiest of arguments. 2 weeks ago she threatened to divorce me and took her ring off and called me a sick pervert, because she started a conversation about our daughter wearing makeup in the future when she's in high school, and I said my opinion is, while I'm not against it, I don't think she would need a full face of makeup as a 13-year-old, and she blew up without even allowing me to explain my opinion any further, and claimed I am the same as a pedophile that would sexualize a teenager by implying that too much makeup or dressing provocatively would attract attention from the walking hormones, teenage boys. She belittled and insulted me, and then threw her ring at me and told me we're done, and I had to swallow my pride and beg for forgiveness, to keep our family together. Writing it all out is really amazing me, I can't believe how low I've become. I've never just dumped everything out into words like this. CDEC002 responded with, I hear you. Look, I know we are strangers, and I am not a professional in these types of things, but I am a married individual, and I can tell you that what you are in is not a marriage. It has turned into an obligatory arrangement. I get you feel like you have to stay for the kids. I get you don't want to feel like you wasted your time with her. I get you want to try to make things work. But making a marriage work requires 2 players, not 1. Right now, you are the only one putting in the work. She is simply riding on your coattails. And I can tell you from these stupid little fights she keeps picking with you, that she is doing this purposefully to make you out to be the bad guy. She gaslights you. She makes you feel like you are the crazy one. Like you are the one who forced her hand into all of this. I can tell you that 100% bullshit. You didn't cause any of this. She did. I know this is a hard situation to be in, heartbreaking even. But man, you have to learn to love yourself and put yourself first. The first person you should ever love in your life isn't anyone else but you. Perhaps you can try couples therapy or counseling or whatever else there is. But I can tell you right now this marriage that you are in is an incredibly toxic one, and as it stands now, it will only continue to get worse and worse. I hope I helped you in some type of way. OP responded with, and I can tell you from these stupid little fights she keeps picking with you, that she is doing this purposefully to make you out to be the bad guy. She gaslights you. She makes you feel like you are the crazy one. This hits the nail on the head perfectly. This is exactly how I've been feeling, and I tried to express this only to be shut down with her saying you can't put everything on me always, which I don't exactly know how to respond to. It is her. She explodes over nothing. Simple conversations that could be a normal conversation become me getting shouted at and disrespected, and if I stand up for myself even slightly, I get shut down and then promptly have divorce shoved in my face, and I'm left to wallow in my misery until she decides I've had enough and accepts my apology. Occasionally she'll admit she was wrong, and take responsibility, but mostly it's on me to de-escalate and absorb the brunt of the abuse. Frigate_Orphean responded with, oh, and by staying, you're modeling this behavior for your kids. They know more than you think. This marriage is normal to them. Is that the kind of relationship you want them to think is acceptable? CDEC002 responded with, just the fact that she has the audacity to threaten divorce when you have had multiple reasons to divorce her is a red flag. She has no shame, and someone with no shame, no remorse will ever change. No matter how much therapy you shove in their face or how much you try to work out the relationship. I'm sorry,